In this video, you are going to learn how to build unit rate for block work. The cost of concrete block is determined by various factors, thus the cost of material, labor, profit, and overhead cost. Now, if you want to determine or build your unit rate for block work, these are the things you consider. You have to consider the cost of material, you have to consider the cost of labor, you have to add your profit and overheads. Now, let's look at the material cost. This material cost will encompass the following: your basic cost and transportation cost. Your basic cost is the actual cost of the material. Like for example, we are building unit rate for block. The actual cost of the material, such as your sand, cement, and so on. That is the basic cost. The actual cost of that material is your basic cost. You have to consider it. Then, having done that, the next you have to consider under your material is the transportation cost. Transporting that material to the site, what it will cost you have to be considered. And also under this transportation cost, you also have to consider the cost of loading that material where it is being purchased, and the cost of unloading it on site have to be considered also under your transportation cost. Then after you have done this, the next thing you need to consider is your labor cost. That is, your labor cost has to be either skilled labor or unskilled labor. So labor cost is normally calculated in terms of all-in labor rates. That is cost of employing labor on site to carry out this work. This can either be daily or hourly. So when considering your labor cost, you can either consider your labor cost when building your unit rate, either daily or hourly. If it is daily, for example, daily labor cost now is, let me say, 8,000 naira for block work in building industry. For skilled labor, then for unskilled labor is 4,000 naira. So if you want to consider it daily, let it be 8,000. If you want to consider it hourly, for skilled, it will be 1,000 naira per hour because we have 8 hours in a day. 1,000 naira per hour. For unskilled, it will be 500 naira per hour. So you have to consider your labor cost. And after you have finished doing this, if the work involves use of plants, you have to also consider that. If it is plant, the plant you have to consider if the plant will be mechanical or it will be non-mechanical. If it will be mechanical, it means you have to, like for example, the use of mixer, excavator on site and so on. That is mechanical. If it has to be mechanical, it means you have to consider it hourly. We'll consider the cost of machine hourly on site. What is the cost of using this machine per hour on site? It has to be considered. If it's non-mechanical, like use of shovel, trowel and so on, this has to be lump sum. It will be built in the different section of the contract. This has to be lump sum. Non-mechanical plants has to be lump sum. Then the next thing you have to consider while building your unit rate is profit and overheads. Profit and overhead, because the contractor who is going to organize this labor material to execute this work has to make some profit at the end of the job. You have to consider his profit. Overhead has to come in two forms: general overhead and project overhead. This general overhead has to do with the cost which the firm incurred as a result of running the firm on their daily activities. It has nothing to do with the project at hand. Then the project overhead is the cost which the firm incurred as a result of what? Running or carrying out this particular project. So this project overhead has to be considered. So at the end, when building your unit rate, you have to consider profit and overhead has to be added. Now, under this material cost, there is something I didn't explain here. You also have to consider wastage of the material, because in terms of haulage and handling, it can incur some waste. So it has to be added while building your unit rate. In my next video, I'm going to build unit rate for block work per square meter or for 10 square meter. This video will be playing on my YouTube. If you're not following this page, click the follow button, share this video, like and comment. I love you all.